Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to this tutorial. In this video we're going to learn about strings, and in my previous videos I've introduced you to Python. So in this lesson we're going to learn about strings, how we deal with strings in Python. Strings is among one of the data types we have in Python. Basically it's text data, and as you can see I've created two variables in my screen which contains string data, and you can see that I've defined strings by having some text quoted within quotes. Okay, it's inside double quotes. You can use double quotes or single quotes like you can see in my two variables, and in case you want to have a single quote within your text, you can use double quotes, then within your text you can insert a single quote, like for the case of my first variable, which is new, and for the second one I've defined it using single quotes. So this is basically how string is, basically just text data. And if you have a string that's very long, for example a paragraph, and you still want to represent it in your code, you will use triple quotes, that is for multi-line strings. There's a way we can check the length of a string. For example, if you want to know the length of your string, if you want to know what's the length of the word Michael, so you can use the len function as I've done here, and you pass the argument here, which in this case it's my variable. So if I do print the length of this variable, it should count the number of characters within this string and print it for me. So if I run this code here in the terminal, I should see a number. In this case it's a 7, so if you count these characters, they should be 7, which they're indeed 7. So this is how you identify the length of your string. We can also print the length of the other variable. So if I run this, I should see two values, 7 and 21. So the other variable has 21 characters. We can also access the elements of a string using index, and you can do that by calling the variable name. For example, I can say I want to access the value at index 0. That should be the first value. As you know, Python counts from 0. So if I want to access the first character in the variable new, that should be h. So if we can print this, we can see, you see we have h here. So let me just clean. So if I want to print a range of characters, maybe I want to print from characters between index 0 and index 5, what Python is going to do is it will print every single character from index 0 up to one character behind the last index input here. So in this case it will be from 0 to 4. So what Python does is it prints out everything except that value that you've given as the last index. So in this case we will be expecting values from 0 to 4, so it would have the word hey and I think just the L. So let's print out and see. You can see it has hey which goes up to index 2, and the space which is 3, and the L which is 4. So when you say 0 and between 0 and 5, it means between 0 and 4. You can also print out everything from the beginning up to a certain index, so you don't have to input the 0 because it will assume you're starting from the first index, maybe 2. You remember it was the characters in this variable were about 21, so that means the index will be from 0 to 20. So we can print out up to 20, so that means we'll have characters from 0 to 19. So it will have everything except the last value, which is k, as you can see. You can also you can print out items from a value all the way to the end, for example 6. So if we print that, it has printed out everything from ST till the end. So this is slicing, whereby we are slicing our characters, our string data. So there are many methods that are available for string data. There's so many things you can do. For example, if I want this string to be in capital or uppercase, I can use the .upper function. So for that, I can print out this new variable .upper. So this function is going to turn everything that is in this variable into uppercase letter. This is one of the functions that's available for strings, and you can see it has done that. You can also do replacements. You can replace some of the characters in your string with other words. For example, I'd like to replace hey with hello, so I'm going to create a new variable. Maybe I can say new to is new. So for that, you use the replace function dot replace. Replace takes 2 arguments, as you can see here, where the first argument is what you want to replace. For example, here it's hey, and I want to replace it with hello. So if I print out the new variable, it's going to have hello. You can see. So I created a new variable whereby this word has been replaced by this word. It doesn't mean that it's really going to replace it in the first variable. So unless if I had created another variable which is exactly the same name as this new and replace it, so that means now the new variable will have the hello keyword, hello word, as you can see. You can also count the number of times a particular character has appeared in your function. So count is one of the other functions that's available for string, whereby you can say you can print new dot count checks an argument of a string where you indicate which string do you want to count. For example, I can count L. So it should give me the number of times that L appears in my string. As you can see, it's 3 times. And that's because we have the 2 L's in the hello, and also we have the L in the last. So basically it's returning a value showing the number of times that that particular character has appeared. Something similar to count is find, but find returns the index of that particular value that you've passed. It gives you the index, basically the location of that character within the string. So if I use find instead of count, the result is 2, and that's because in the hello world, whereby L will be appearing for the first time, the position of the first time that L appears is at index 2, which is correct. So it gives you the index position of the first time that character has appeared in your string. So basically that's almost like a summary of the functions that we have for strings. There is a way that you can find out all the functions that can access your string, or rather the functions or methods that are available for you for your string data. And you can use the dir function. So if I print out that's the name of the function, and I can do that for any object. For example, I want to know what are the methods that are available for strings, and I know that the new variable is a string. So if I do for string, I should be able to find out what kind of methods can I do for string. So I'm going to clear the terminal. So here we can see a list of things that you can do for the string, and down here you can see some of the things that we've done, like the upper function. We have the upper function, we have things like lower, which is the opposite of upper. Basically this is a list of everything you can do with a string. We've used the replace. So if you want to know everything that you can do, you can use the dir function to know. If you want to research about any of this function, you can research, especially on the Python docs page. We have the split functions, the strip. You can learn more about this online, but basically we've covered most of the common functions. The last thing that I'd like us to cover is about concatenating strings. You can combine 2 strings into one. So we are going to combine our 2 variables into one. So we can create a new variable where we can say final is an addition of these 2 variables. So basically in Python you'd use the additional sign operator. So I'd just say sign plus the other variable. So if I print final, I should see a combination of these 2. So you can see it just added the two variables. However, we don't have the space between the first variable and the second, so for that you have to add the space. For example, I can add a new variable here, which is a space, and then still put an additional sign operator. So if I print it again, there will be a space between the two characters. Don't understand why it's not working. Oh, it's because it's an empty string. I need to literally put a space like that for it to show the space. Yeah, you can also put like a comma or whatever you want to do. This is how you add two strings into one. In the next lesson we'll learn more about formatting strings, whereby instead of doing this concatenation directly, you can just use Python formatting of strings, where you literally write exactly how you want the sentence to appear, but still putting in place the variables. So this is the end of this lesson. I hope you've learned so much about strings and how the various things that we can do with it in Python. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.